All right, welcome back to another episode of Small Guys Podcast. Today we're doing the new movie Challengers. Tashi, a former tennis prodigy turned coach, turned her husband into a champion. But to overcome a losing streak, he needs to face his ex-best friend and Tashi's ex-boyfriend. This movie has an 89% critic score and a 75% audience score. It's a hit movie right now. Zendaya. Andrew, what did you think?
Right off the bat, I like how the description says she turns her husband into a star, because that's what this movie kind of plays off of. I also want to state right off the bat, fuck Zendaya, fuck Patrick, fuck Art. All three of them are horrible people. If I had to pick a worse person, probably Tashi, probably Zendaya. I think she, her role being just an absolute fucking homewrecker.
Well, she said she
Pretty,
wasn't, though.
she very much is a homewrecker, but she does a damn good job. And the other two play off of it. So they're also equally horrible. Like it made it hard, like, to feel bad for them. So like initial reaction, fuck all three of them, but this was a good movie.
Yeah. I think I saw in an interview, some people were saying Patrick's the villain. All three leads disagree with that. They all said that all three of them are the villains,
That's
the bad guys. And so when you said that, that's what made me think of what they said.
I think all three of them play villain in this, at different points. Like starting off, like we'll just kind of jump into the movie and skip around a little bit. But when Patrick and Tashi first get together, like they're hooking up, Tashi's in college and Patrick is doing his own thing. He's not doing college.
He went pro.
He's playing. Yeah, he's trying to go pro, trying to make it big. Never quite makes it as big as he'd like, but he's going pro. During that time, Art is the villain in this operation. He is being a sneaky bastard, sly dog, trying to play both sides and say, oh, so-and-so doesn't, oh, hey, Patrick, does she really, does she love you? And she's asking, Art, hey, is he seeing someone out, and Art's just kind of like this, I don't know, weapon of demise, I guess. He's just playing both sides, trying to tear it down. And I like that in the movie, Patrick actually calls that shit out. He goes, you're acting like an asshole. And he goes, but he's like, I love it, but he can and he's like, I can tell you're jealous. And I'm glad that like they were upfront with that in the movie. Like it wasn't just something we as the audience were kind of like subliminally seeing. So
Yeah.
I'd say that first part, Art is the villain. And then obviously as the movie goes on, Patrick kind of plays the villain part.
I took it as, when I watched it, I just thought Tashi was. But you can definitely make the argument that all three are at certain aspects of the movie. Just to take it back to their acting, tell me if I'm bold here. I think Zendaya is the best actress right now, just in movies in general. Like, I think her best performances are still probably on Euphoria, but like in this movie, she's incredible. Incredible performance by her. Like literally, I forgot I was watching actors act. I thought I was watching like a real thing, a real documentary or whatever you want to call it. They all play the role really well, but like she just steals the show. It's similar to Euphoria. She's incredible, and it's crazy to think like how many years she spent on Disney, and how incredible she truly is.
Tried to have a music career for like 3.5 seconds,
right? And the song's not even that bad, so it's like, what can she not do? And
I don't think that's like a super hot take. I don't know if I could say like best actress. I'll give you best
maybe in the 2020s, maybe most like last 5 years, 4 years.
Or even like top young actress. I'll give you that maybe. Like I don't really see who else is. And you know what's interesting is a lot of people say like she's mid. I've actually seen that. Like,
Wow.
it's not that great, which I think is a bad take because between, like you said, Euphoria, I'd say is like some of her like best performances, and then this was damn good. Like, she did a good job of like, I love the scene where like a little later in the movie, maybe second act, we'll call it, end of second act, when Art, like I said, we're skipping around here. Art asks
Hmm.
her, if I lose this match, like, does it matter? And she, is basically what Patrick said. You have to coddle him, and he's, you're kind of coaching him, but you guys don't like have this deep passion. We literally
Yeah.
watched that play out in the movie as she like coddled him, and they go to like make out and get a little intimate, and she did a fantastic job there because you could just see how uninterested she was. She was dead
Hmm.
on the inside. She did a great job there as an actor, in my opinion. When he's trying to like make a some love, be a little intimate, and Tashi
His
Zendaya,
wife.
yeah,
Yeah.
just was not, didn't care. Like, you could tell she was trying, but just truly was not interested. And then finally, Art is just like, "Hey, can you just hug me through the night?" And then they pan to her face, and you can see like just absolute disappointment, which
Yeah.
is too bad.
Yeah. I mean, all they have in common is tennis, right?
Yep.
And so, I wanted to ask you your thoughts. You just came out of the movie. Um,
Hmm.
this is definitely a movie where you really have to pay attention. They time
Yeah,
hop quite a bit.
a
Um,
lot.
Now, I kind of have two different thoughts about it, right? Because in most reviews that we do, I don't like time hopping around. It
Hmm.
can get messy, confusing. They do it quite a bit in this movie, but I think the way they do it, where it's like this tennis match, they call it the challengers match,
Hmm.
and the way it goes throughout the movie from like beginning to end, I
Yeah.
thought the way that was laid out and the way that we'd go back in time was really cool and interesting because at the beginning of the movie when they start the challengers and it's Art versus Patrick, we really don't know too much about their backgrounds at all, and
Hmm.
I find myself rooting for one character, and then by the end of the movie, I'm now rooting for a different character, and so I thought that was really cool. I don't know what you thought about that or if it annoyed you the time hopping or what you thought,
So
but
like,
yeah,
as I was watching it, I kind of thought that like, this they're jumping around a lot. Maybe this is a
13
little
years
bit of,
before, like
yes.
7 days before, like
Well,
it
and that's the
yeah,
thing. It was very. I will say maybe it's a con, but I'm gonna come through with it. Um, the time hopping that they did felt like it didn't have the dates that they were throwing up on the screen didn't feel like they had a ton of significance. I only say that because literally every single one was a different time frame. Like,
yeah.
there was not one that was like, "Oh, we're back to yesterday again." It was like
Hmm.
yesterday, 2 weeks ago, 13 years ago, 6 years ago, 3 years ago, 3 a.m. in Atlanta. Like,
In Atlanta, yeah.
it was all over the place, but I think it was important for how they told the story. So, and when I was watching it, I was like, maybe I'm annoyed with this, but now that I've seen it and saw the whole story, I guess I don't mind it.
Yeah, and if you hadn't seen the trailer, you're kind of confused as to what the hell's happening at the beginning, and what the hype is behind these two characters going against each other in the
I,
challengers match.
I had no idea what was going on here. Like, I didn't.
Yeah.
I think I saw a trailer a long time ago, but I
Hmm.
did not remember. The only thing I knew about this was a tennis movie and Zendaya was in it. Like, that's the
Okay.
knowledge that I went into the movie with.
Right.
So I felt like I knew nothing.
Yeah. Um, and what did you think? I guess we'll talk about this too. What did you think of the other two leads, Josh O'Connor and Mike Fast? I don't really know them too much from
I
other
can't say I
things.
do.
Yeah, I mean, I can
Um,
look what they're in, but what did you think of? I guess their performances. I thought they were pretty good too.
yeah, so I agree. I didn't know them, but I thought they both did a really good job. And me and Emma were kind of laughing at, especially that they have this weird chemistry, which felt like more than friends. And
All three of them had chemistry. Yeah,
all three of
in
them
a weird
had
way.
chemistry, but
Yeah.
the two of them had a odd. Maybe that's I don't play tennis. Maybe that's how it is in tennis. Um, but they had a little bit of a strange chemistry, where at the start of the movie, I didn't know if they were gonna hook up or something. Like truly was a little bit confused until we kind of get introduced to Zendaya, and then they're both crushing on her. And then, you know, I thought it was hilarious when they're like dicking around in the hotel room, and they're like, they're talking about, oh, what if she comes over? What? She's not gonna come. Okay, what are you gonna? Because that actually felt like a from like a young guy perspective, like a conversation that's maybe been had before. Like they did a really
Yeah,
good job
especially
of playing up.
high school boys.
Yeah, exactly. And then they like
Yeah,
jump up when they hear oh shit, she's actually showing up. Um, and now
and
they
she's
gotta,
famous at this point.
yeah. So
Yeah.
they gotta try and pull their shit together. And it was funny to see, Tashi Zendaya there. She was basically there to just play both those boys. Like she was not there to really do anything. She just wanted to fuck with their heads essentially. And damn,
Yeah.
did that work? Because the three of them start kissing, and then next thing you know, she's just watching.
Yeah.
She's
Looks like
just
a
watching.
evil mastermind
It
watching
did.
them. Yeah.
It was sick in the head, but it was funny. It was really funny, and it was cool to see that. And then she kind of just dips out, but she adds one more layer of pressure by saying, whichever one of you wins can get my number. Obviously, that's where Patrick gets that number. We don't actually get to see that match, correct?
No.
We never.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we just, we find out that Patrick won because they start dating. Um, although there
Or
was
it might see the
always going to be
beginning of
this.
it, but
I think yeah, but
yeah.
we don't see the actual finale.
Yeah.
But there was always going to be this weird chemistry because Art was going to school with her at Stanford.
Stanford.
So
Yeah.
if I'm Patrick, I don't know if I'm trusting my boy.
Yeah, and
Depends.
I thought it was cool too that like Patrick thought. I mean, and he obviously was better than Art at that time at
He
least,
was.
and he's a very good player. So he decided it's not really even worth going to school. I want to play tennis, for as long as I possibly can. I'm very good at it. I want to go pro, which makes sense from his side of it. And then Tashi's side of it was, I don't want my life to just be tennis, even though I don't really believe her. And
Yeah.
that she wanted to go to school. So I thought that side of things was interesting too. And it is unfortunate, depending on how you look at it, I guess, if you like the character. But she got hurt in college,
Yeah.
and so she couldn't go on to be a pro. And that is things we see in real life all the time with athletes in college,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's football, baseball, whatever it is, tennis. And so I thought that storyline was pretty interesting and a cool idea to go with it. I saw they had like a fake like lower half of Zendaya like for the actual like knee snapping part.
Ah.
It wasn't like
Ooh,
CGI, so I thought that was
that
cool.
was that was gross. They did a good
Dude, you
job
knew an
with that.
injury was coming.
I ought to. Well, you knew an injury was coming because there was some sort of flashback scene before that where Art mentioned, or no. I think Tashi mentions like, "I wish I could have recovered like you,"
Yeah,
um, or
like
flip flop those
if I didn't
words.
have my injury, yeah, she says it really early in the movie. Like if I didn't have my injury,
So
I'd kill a. She said I'd kill a kid or an old woman or,
yeah.
like I was like, whoa, yeah,
Which is interesting because she says, "Oh, my whole life isn't tennis," but she then says something like that. So her
right.
life definitely was all
All
tennis.
three of their lives are tennis. Um, What did you like the way they made them older? I thought they sold it when they're younger, the way they look, all the actors when they're younger, and
Abs-
then when they look older.
Absolutely, they did
Mm,
honestly a damn good job, like with just some makeup, haircuts.
yeah,
Probably have, I think, just their hair on their head. Like they did a
yeah,
damn good job with like convincing me. Okay, that's an 18 to 20-something-year-old to, okay, that's a late 20s, early 30-year-old. It also
Yeah,
helped work because in real life, I think they're all right in between those two ages,
yeah,
so
26, 27.
they can kind of play off of, they weren't
Right.
trying to, had they tried to sell Art and Patrick when they were like freshmen in high school, that would have been a tough sell.
Hmm.
But being like freshmen in college to like 30, like, I don't know, I thought they did a good job with it. And I was sometimes like, uh, what am I, maybe Outer Banks, that Netflix show, when they're
Yeah.
supposed to be like 16 years old and those actors are like pushing 30 in real life, like,
Yeah, I mean, look at Stranger
yeah.
Things, Twilight.
Yeah.
I mean, the Spider-Man movies, the original Sam Raimi
Yeah.
ones. Like, it's all, yeah.
Even
It's
Andrew
hard to
Garfield does not look like
Euphoria now. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And so it's been a thing, but yeah, I think the way they do it is really, really good, especially for like Art's character. Dude sold
Which
that he was like a teenager, and then sold that he was in his early 30s.
you
To me, at
you
least.
actually just reminded me of something in this movie that I thought was funny. I leaned over to Emma when Lily, their daughter, asks if she can watch Spider Verse.
Yeah,
I thought
yeah. I
I
thought that
thought
was funny too.
that was a good that was a good
So,
little, like, I guess maybe play into Tom Holland. I don't know.
so this is a debate. After seeing the movie with the people I saw with, when there's arguments or scenes get a little intense between characters talking to each other, music plays, and it gets kind of loud. Um, the people I was with did not like the music being played throughout the scenes. Do you know what I'm
That's
talking about?
that is hilarious. You said, well, maybe not hilarious is the right word. Emma on the way home mentioned that.
Hmm.
I said, "Oh," I said, I like I guess I didn't. I thought that was part of like what they were trying to do there, like drown it out with a loud noise.
Right. Yeah.
So
So to
I
me,
liked it.
if
Emma did not.
yeah, yeah, and I completely understand why maybe you wouldn't like it, and it feels like '80s techno type music, like it is
I
like that.
I
But
totally dug that. I thought that was so
I,
cool.
I thought it was cool too, and I assume they're going for more of like it's a tennis vibe, like it is intense. These arguments, it's like back and forth in this beat, and so I kind of like those scenes. I thought it was interesting the way they did it, and so I was curious what you thought because the people I was with did not like it. And I completely understand where they're coming from. I get both sides of it completely, but it really didn't bother me at all, surprisingly.
Okay, so yeah, I'm on the. That's funny you even mentioned that because I thought that was like such a non-noticeable thing, and when Emma said that, I like totally wrote it off as like, what are you talking about? So that's funny that you said that other people also had that gripe, and I thought it was cool. So
Yeah,
no, I was a
yeah,
fan, but I didn't really notice it until Emma had mentioned it to me.
yeah. Well, like there is some scenes where, like, okay, so the one that comes to my head is the Atlanta scene, 3 a.m., whatever that
Mm-hmm.
time means. Um, and there is a part where Patrick's asking about Art's grandma, and and Tashi says that she had a
Dude,
stroke, which is a callback. But like it was the music was so loud at that point, the people I saw it with couldn't even hear that she said that the grandma had a stroke, and I heard it. But like the music is loud at certain points, and like they're
I
both talking at a
I
normal volume.
I heard
So
that too, but I think that was supposed to, maybe I'm reading too deep into it, but like I felt like that was supposed to add like an extra layer of like drama or like contempt in her because like at that point Patrick is the prick. Like
yeah,
he's the villain at that point in my opinion.
hmm,
And Tashi played into it. Like she's not innocent in this fact, but when he saw the ring and he knows who she, like, and he knows like, oh, that's, used to be one of my friends, I should walk away. He didn't
hmm,
even give a shit. He asked who, he didn't even ask whose ring. I think she just says it's his grandma's, like she
yeah,
initiates the conversation,
yeah,
me hoping, like, I think on the outside, she was hoping to shut it down with that. It's his
hmm,
grandma's. But on the inside, she's saying, please, just say it, like, keep it going.
Yeah.
So hats off to Zendaya there for the acting. At least that's what I took away from it. And then yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, another thing I really wanted to talk about was the some of the camera shots when they're actually playing tennis. I thought that was really cool when the actual ball itself was like a camera and that they're hitting it back and forth. Some of the like higher up angles, watching them down, I thought was really cool. I thought a lot of those shots were really sweet. What did you think of those? The way they went about shooting that scene or those scenes?
It was unique, and it was another thing that kind of brought me into like the game, which was cool.
Mm-hmm.
They could have they could have easily not done it. Movie would have been great, but that was like a little extra, I don't know, artistic touch that seemed to add to it and make it a little bit more interesting. So I was a fan of it. Like overall, a lot of the stuff in this movie, the music, the cinematography, like things that I wasn't going to this movie to see. I was pleasantly surprised with, and they helped add to like keeping me interested in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, a big thing I kept seeing on TikTok and online was the scene where this is closer to the end, where Patrick holds the ball up to the tennis racket to signify that him and Tashi had slept together again, calling back to the beginning of the movie. And
hmm
I know a lot of people in my theater gasped. What did you think of that reveal,
so
that
right
callback?
be I'm just an ass. Right before that happened, like when they were in that, the final like serves there, I leaned over to Emma. I go, he's gonna do art serve.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't that surprised, but I was happy to. I felt like I got edged a little bit. I thought he was going to do it sooner, and he waited till right at the end, and then he did do it. And I loved that Tashi had didn't really understand what was going on.
Right.
She was a little
Yeah,
bit
she had no clue.
confused, but that was his way of communicating that with him. Now, I think when Art kind of has his little outburst and says like "fuck you," I don't know if that was him like thinking like, "Oh, he's full of shit," or is that he didn't seem angry enough to like really lock in. I think that was more like you dick.
Yeah.
Why would you say that? But like Patrick actually did fuck her
Yeah,
twice.
and too, like Art, they show that in Atlanta, like he kind of had this feeling that they slept together, and so and then clearly like he gets up in the middle of the night to go sleep with their daughter, go lay down with their daughter, and like knows Tashi's gone, right? So it's like he's been picking up on things, but didn't know for certain. And so I think you're right. I think he was just kind of like fuck you, like pissed off. I think he went through like multiple different emotions and stages of grief all in that scene, and that's to Mike Face credit to being a good actor because you could really just tell in his face the way he's like panting and everything like that, and I thought like just the camera shots of them sweating and onto the ground and the cameras like looking up, like it was so many cool things like that.
That like
Really
last
sold that.
15 minutes had a lot of unnecessary but really cool like angles and shots that they did.
Yeah,
Like unnecessary, didn't need them, but I thought they were cool. I thought they added a little extra art touch to it to keep you interested in tennis, which some people might get bored with.
right. Yeah, and I don't watch a lot of tennis, but I was very engaged on what was happening in this movie, and like we mentioned earlier, every time they get back to this challengers match between these two, it gets more and more intense every time we revisit it because we're learning more
Mm-hmm.
about each character's background and past. So, and what's on the line now. We figure out the night before Tashi tries to tell Patrick to throw the match. He pretty much promises that he will.
Mm-hmm.
Is I mentioned it earlier too. Is there a point in the movie where you're rooting for one character to win that match and then maybe you flipped, or were you always on one character's side? Did you not want either of them to win? Maybe lightning strikes the court and catches on fire. What did you want to happen um, at the end of that game?
Uh, I like that question. I think at first I wanted Patrick to win that
Really?
match.
Okay. Okay.
And here's my reasoning with that. Because at first it just looked like Art stole his girl. That's what it
Yeah.
looked like at first. As it goes on, and I kind of saw, you know, Art in the beginning, like I said, seemed like the villain. As it went on, Patrick kind of seemed like the villain. The fact that he would, even ask Tashi, "Hey, will you please coach me?" Like, that's messed up. But once Patrick, hooked up with Tashi at the end there, then I kind of wanted Art to win because I was like, Patrick's a dick and Zendaya is just, or Tashi, uh,
Hmm.
is just an absolute home wrecking horrible bitch. Like
Yeah.
when she comes home to Art laying with their daughter, I'm just like, you are a scumbag.
Yeah.
You are horrible, Tashi. And I have to ask you that. Were you shocked when she spit in his face and then they made out?
No, I thought they were gonna have sex
Really?
that entire time. Yeah, when they're yelling at each other in the car, like when they're parked, I thought it was gonna happen there. The sexual tension was just through the roof. If we didn't know about them sleeping together in Atlanta when she's already married, then maybe I wouldn't think so. But I
Okay.
just thought, like, she's like, yeah, I'll fuck you if you're gonna actually throw the match. Like that's what she cared about the most. But she's also selfish in what she wants as well.
Yeah.
Which is to
I guess
basically control these men, these two guys. So,
I guess
but
I
go
expected
ahead.
it. Yeah, sorry. I guess I expected it, but I didn't want to see it.
Yeah, no, I and it's terrible, and so I'm actually flipped on that. I at the beginning of the movie was rooting for Art to win because we see the movie opens with him and Tashi, and so I'm by default rooting for this character because I know more about him. I know that
Okay.
he is a professional at what he does. He's very good, but he's fallen on a losing streak. So I want to see him win, right? Because we don't know much about these characters at all. After Tashi sleeps with Patrick and wants him to throw the match, I'm rooting against Tashi at this point because
Wow.
she's a terrible
Okay.
character. I want basically what she doesn't want. So she wants Art to win. So in that case, I want Patrick to win. So that's where
That's
I'm
kind
at.
of
So I'm
cool.
like, I
Okay,
can't be
cool.
on her
So
side. Yeah.
yeah, we've got the two different perspectives there, which is kind of cool. Yeah, I'm flip flopped on that. But overall, I also like. I was almost hoping that at the end there they were going to team up and both give her the middle finger, because I mean
Right.
all three of them were villains, but I mean she was horrible from start to finish.
Right.
Just kind of home wrecking, and I like that she does kind of admit it. When I think Art may say, "Oh, I haven't talked to him in years," and or maybe it was the other way around. Yeah, sorry, it was Art when they met at the Applebee's. Art
Hmm.
and Tashi met at the Applebee's, and Art said, "Yeah, I haven't talked to him in years," and she says, "Oh, maybe I am a homewrecker." He's like, "No, she is.
Yeah.
She very much
Yeah, she
is.
is. She is.
One
100%.
1000%. But she did a great job, like acting. Like, and I liked the character, but at the same time, I hated her. So it was a mixed emotions.
Yeah. And that proves right there, like, how good she is as an actress, just because I did hate this character. And she's great at what she does. Pretty girl, smart, obviously gets what she wants. Like, there's no reason why you should hate her, but she's just evil in her intent of what she wants to accomplish. And so, yeah, like I was fully like, no, I don't want Patrick to throw this because it'd be lame, and I want him to win because she wants him to lose. So
They
that's
ha-
why in my head I decided that. So
they had a lot of fun little callbacks and stuff in the movie. When she's right at the beginning, first like 10 minutes, she's designing that Aston Martin ad and making her little critiques. Just
mhm.
just again, I think kind of showing how like I and actually I'm just realizing this right now. Boom. Um on the ad, it has him front and center, and it says game changer. And
Mhm.
her critiques if you notice, was like an arrow to I think maybe push him back, and she added an S to have it say
Mm,
game changers, so they were even because she
yeah.
wanted to be in that damn spotlight too. I'm thinking about that right now. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I think that's what was going on there. And I love that the callback to that is her and Patrick are having sex with that in the background in the car because
Yeah.
really I think what she really wanted was that partner that was a dick, that one that she
Yeah.
could, you know, and I kind of agreed with, Patrick when they kind of like I guess you could say had their big fight and broke up. He didn't want to be treated like, like a lesser. I think he could have probably listened to her a little bit and maybe been a little bit more of a student, but his whole thing was like, you think you're on this high pedestal. Well, we're peers. We're both really good at tennis. I think
Yeah.
he could have maybe taken a little constructive criticism, and we see him kind of come around to that in the end when he wants to be coached and he wishes that maybe he had that chance with her, but he kind of blew it.
Yeah. Yeah. And two, I thought about this after the movie. There really isn't a point to them having a daughter. I feel like that didn't really have to be in the movie. I guess maybe just to make it more worse that she cheats on Art. But
I
really,
think it's
she's
just a
barely in it.
yeah, I think it's just to make the stakes a little bit higher. Um
Yeah.
that they're not just married, they also have a kid, so it really think about it gives an extra layer of her being a homewrecker. She's not
Yeah.
only, destroying her marriage, but she's also a mother, and now, her daughter's going to maybe look at her differently. So I think it was
And
just
maybe
an
that's another reason Art wants to retire,
yeah.
right?
Well,
Spend time with his daughter, maybe.
that's exactly what Patrick said. He said,
Yeah.
he's getting old. He's good on his tennis. He wants to call it a day. I think he literally said eat a hamburger, eat a cheeseburger, and ride it out on the beach. And you can tell that Tashi thinks that that is the most like horrendous, disgusting thing ever, uh, because she's in love with the game. I'd say
Yeah.
more than Art, even though Art was a
Game, the
great
fame.
player. Yeah,
Hmm.
I think Art was a good player because he had someone in his corner.
Yeah.
Patrick, I think, was maybe a little bit more talented, and had he had that person in his corner, he would have been elevated to, like he said, a totally different level.
Right. Yeah. And, I had this theory on the way of driving home from seeing the movie. I want to know your thoughts on this. Maybe you probably didn't even think about it. We'll see. Okay. There's a chance. Now I'm trying to map out the timeline in my head. Atlanta is, I think, 7 years before current time, right? They have sex. She cheats on Art with Patrick. Their daughter's not that old. She's probably 6 or 7. Is there a chance that the daughter could be Patrick's? Because they're newly married. She's not pregnant yet.
Mm,
I thought about that. Maybe they're like subtly hinting at it. I could be completely wrong, but I thought the
I
timelines match up to where it could be his daughter as well.
I didn't even think of that. And to add a little bit of fire to your argument,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't she have black curly hair? The
Mm-hmm.
daughter? I think
Yeah.
she did. And last time I checked, Art is a blonde.
Yeah. Blonde redhead. And the daughter had neither of those. So
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
just to add a little fuel to your fire and your argument there. Yeah, I didn't
But
think
it's
of
hard
that.
too because their mom has, like, Tashi has dark hair, so like you could make the argument for either side, but it's possible if the timelines are matching up. It is definitely possible, and like the daughter was around like 6, 7, 8, like that range, so like it made sense. So I don't know. I kind of thought about that on the drive home, um, and so I don't know. It's interesting.
I
It does add like another level to it.
I didn't even think of that, but that's a good little possibility. We'll call it maybe a little
Yeah,
Easter egg. I guess I don't
yeah.
know.
Okay, so just to get to the ending here, It's kind of ambiguous as to how it
Little
ends.
open ended. We assume Art one, correct?
I believe so, and but it's like, where do things
Because
go
he
from
was
here?
well. I'm hoping that he divorces her. Um,
Yes,
um,
he
I hope
retires. I
for
think if he won or lost, he retired. I'll
he
say
was
that.
retiring no matter what. He didn't care. He
Yeah,
was over it. He was clocked
yeah.
out. That's why he started
He
playing
didn't
like
play the
crap.
U.S. Open. I think he retires no matter what after that match,
I think
regardless
so
if he
too.
won or lost.
I think so too, but that was like his just final like I am better than you, and I guess I have a or we both are maybe even. I don't know. I take it as I thought it was a little strange that it like end with them hugging and smiling. I didn't know if they were about to kiss. Um, it was a and Zen or Tashi stands up and does her signature scream. What I did
Yeah.
like is in that last like 30 seconds, they both grin at each other. And I think that was kind of like Tashi said, that was just them. Like, that was just watching some tennis. They were just playing tennis. They were locked in the game. And for 15
Hmm.
to 20 seconds, they were just having fun. They're just knocking it back and forth. And they are in this like harmony state, just
Yeah.
rolling, having a good time. It's not a competition, right? For that 20, 30 seconds, it's just a good time. So I thought
Yeah.
I liked that, and that's when they really got creative with those like camera angles right
Cool
there at the end.
shots.
Yeah, they had the
Yeah.
ball one, and
You're right exactly because like every round and every match leading up to it, it was all this pressure from their past. But yeah, you're right. They both grin. They're like, "Fuck it, we're just gonna have fun on this last one. Really try to win and like give it our all." And like when they're getting like closer to the net, it's getting more intense. And
yeah,
yeah, like Tashi knows she's on the ropes. She knows it's an intense match, and she is all excited because it is just amazing tennis that they had just experienced watching. So yeah, that scene was really cool. I know, like, okay, so the movie ends right there. I got up
hmm
because I had to go piss very badly, and
hmm
Sydney is next to me and is sitting there, and I'm like, "What are you doing? Get up, let's go." And like I gave her like 30 seconds before I said anything, but I'm like, "What? Why aren't you
was
standing?"
she was she waiting for the end credit scene?
She was waiting for an end credit scene. I said, Sydney, not all movies have end credit scenes. It's not a Marvel movie. She's like, well, Josh, you told me that Ghostbusters didn't have an after credit scene, and it did. And I go, it did, but
Oh,
it's also a sci-fi franchised movie, and also the end credit scene was stupid. I go, they're not doing that on this. This is not getting a sequel. I'm like, that's just how it ended. And so, but yeah, that was my
they
little story there afterwards. I almost didn't make it to the bathroom because
they
she had to
could
wait.
have had Tom Holland come out in a tennis outfit
Right.
to match
Yeah.
up.
And she has, I'll say this, Zendaya has a lot of erotic scenes in this movie. Surprisingly, I didn't think it'd be that much. I saw the trailer where like all three of them were like kissing a little bit, whatever. I thought that'd be it. I wasn't expecting much, but like there's a lot of her getting with both of them, cheating, things
This
like that,
is
which obviously the movie needed. But yeah, I was shocked by that.
this is not a movie you want to be Zendaya's boyfriend and watch.
No, that'd be hard to watch because they have chemistry. All three of them have chemistry.
They play it off really, really well, and um, yeah, it's not just like a peck and a kiss. Like
No.
there's some
Grabbing
there's
and making out,
yeah.
tongue. You see tongue. If I'm Tom, I'm like I'm sitting out on this one. I'm sure it's great. I'm happy for
Hey
you,
babe,
but
movie's great. I'm sure I'm gonna. I'll see
listen,
you
I
in the
already know
next
you
one.
killed it. I don't need to see it. You know what I mean? I know you did a great job. So,
Yeah,
um, no, I'm sure he saw it, and yeah, that sucks for him. But what can you do? That's acting. So,
exactly.
um, yeah, that was I thought about that through some scenes. I'm like, poor Tom Holland, poor Tom
Yeah,
watching this, but. Yeah, did you want to get
yeah,
into scores here? I think we got to everything that I really wanted to talk about. Um,
yeah. I nailed
yeah.
down everything I did. I feel like we didn't
Okay.
ramble too much. Over. You want me? I'll start with the score.
Sure.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Overall, kind of went into this with I don't want to say low expectations, but I guess I went into it with no expectations. I didn't even really look at the scores. I think I had seen a trailer a while back, but I didn't know much. Tennis movies, Zendaya's in it, should be good. Josh told me I had to go see it so we could put out an episode. So I went and saw it. With that said, like we touched on, the acting, give the flowers to Zendaya and the other two guys. They did a great job. I wouldn't change anything there. What's crazy is if you think about it, it was really just those three. There was no really other like side supporting. I guess Art's mom's in it for a second. Couple of announcers, but really it's those three, and they carry the movie, and they do a great job. So I was happy with that. I don't really have anything negative. Like I said, the time hopping might piss some people off, and like you said, the loud music might, but it didn't bother me. Um, would I rewatch this? Maybe, maybe. I don't know for sure. Maybe if it hits Netflix or something, I'll throw it on. Um,
I assume it'll
but
be on Prime. I think it's an Amazon movie.
Oh yeah, you're right. It is a. I saw that at the beginning. Amazon because they own MGM or something now.
Yeah.
So maybe I'd rewatch it. Music was really cool. Wanted to add that in. But with that said, out of 100, like we usually do, and we tend to give out pretty high scores here. I feel like, or at least Nick Pell told me that we're pretty generous with our scores.
We
I'm
are.
going to be generous, and I'm going to go with an 88, and I
Okay.
and I'm happy
Okay.
with that.
I'm
Um,
pretty damn close to that. Pretty damn
okay.
close to that myself. So.
I don't feel like I can throw it in the 90s. Because I wasn't like absolutely blown away. But like it was a good movie. I was
Yeah.
I was not disappointed. It just wasn't my favorite, but I
Yeah.
could rewatch it, maybe.
Yeah.
So 88.
So Zendaya did say, she's probably just trying to sell tickets, of course, that you would benefit from seeing it a few different
Oh,
times
yeah, okay.
because the timeline
Her
and all
net
that,
her
all that
because
stuff.
her net worth would increase.
Yeah. I definitely see myself probably watching this again. Um, I'm honestly just a Zendaya fan now. It's just what it is because she's incredible at what she does, which is acting. And yeah, you hit on everything. I was looking forward to this movie for the last few weeks, actually, like seeing it, and so I know Sydney really wanted to see it too, so I tried to wait for her. She was out of town, so I wasn't able to go like opening night or anything. So I waited a few days to see it with her, but I was really excited to see it, and it somewhat lived up to the expectations. The time hopping did end up working out, but at the time of watching the movie, it was starting to get on my nerves. But at the end of the movie, I was kind of happy that they did it that way in a way. So
Yep.
I don't know. I'm a little torn between that and obviously the characters because there's really no one to root for throughout the whole thing.
No, like I
Um,
started the review. They're all horrible.
yeah, they are. They like they said the actors are saying it themselves. So we're not crazy. All three of them are bad.
Yeah.
They're not. You shouldn't be rooting for any of them. Which is also an interesting aspect as well. So you can give them credit there. But yeah, I'm gonna give them an 89. I was leaning
Oh,
high 80s.
shoot. Okay, yeah, you're right
Yeah,
with me. Cool.
and actually we're pretty close to what critics gave it as well. Actually, I think they gave it an 89. It was 90 yesterday when I looked, but they're right around where we're at. And so, I
Cool.
now
I
audiences gave it. There's only 500 reviews, so that could change, but it's at a 75%. I think like Sydney, a lot of people didn't like the way it ended. I like the way it ended.
I do too. I like an
Yeah,
ambiguous ending. It's
me
it
too.
it
You can connect the dots. Hopefully he leaves her ass. Hopefully. Or he's just
I
a
think
fucking
it's
idiot.
I think it's more fun because most movies have a nice clean ending where everything wraps up. I don't
Yeah.
mind an ambiguous ending, especially with one that like I don't know, you can there's like implement uh you can come up with an idea of
Yeah,
what
and
might be.
clearly there was some attraction between Patrick and Art. Maybe they got together at the end. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, you can connect to whatever
They
dots you
did
want.
teach. That was a funny scene. My theater was laughing when they were talking about teaching each other to jerk off.
Yes, that was
Uh,
funny. Another thing that kept getting my theater to laugh, and this makes me laugh about tennis in general, the moans when they hit the ball, especially Art when he hit the
oh
ball,
yeah.
moaning, every time he hits the
Uh,
fucking ball,
Art
dude.
Art
And
sounded
and
like
my
a little
theater started
bitch.
laughing and giggling like, and this is an intense tennis match at this part of the movie, and people are giggling because the way he and Patrick's moans were like more grunts, and
yeah.
like Arts were completely, it was just funny the way it sounded. So that got a huge laugh out of my theater constantly when that would happen. And that's throughout the movie. It's not just one scene where he
Yeah,
like
no,
moans like
it's
that when he hits the ball. So but that's how tennis really is, that you do hear them because it's so quiet when they're playing. No one's cheering
yeah.
or going crazy. So you hear everything. So but yeah, that was our Challengers review. I think the next movie we're doing is Fall Guy or Fall Guys with
Hmm.
Ryan Reynolds. It's the Fall Guy with Ryan Reynolds and Emily Blunt. A lot of advertising for that movie. It actually comes out the day we're releasing this episode, so I think the plan is we're gonna go see it next week. And that should be good. So we'll see. I'm trying to
Yeah.
avoid even seeing reviews on it because I'm just kind of going blind. But yeah, thank you guys
Gotcha.
for listening. We did post a YouTube video. By the time you're hearing this, it should be up. We did a DreamWorks tier list. We want to start
Yes.
making somewhat shorter YouTube videos that are exclusive just to our YouTube. So go listen to it, go like and subscribe to it, and we'll. I think the plan is once a week or once every 2 weeks. We're just going to drop episodes on there that are just exclusive to the YouTube. So
And they'll be a little
um,
bit shorter, like Josh said, so
yeah,
something a little different.
something fun to watch, whether the tier list brackets, whatever. Um,
Yep.
but yeah, thank you guys for listening. We'll see you guys next time.
See ya.